Hello and welcome to another update video about WTI light crude oil futures. After our breakout below the trend line to the downside, we saw some more downside, also since my last video. Remember that I think not the last video, but the video before that, we talked about these two trend lines, red and green. And I explained to you that we are in a pretty neutral space because the market had just been consolidating. We've just seen consolidation and we needed a breakout either above the red line. That would have been a nice breakout setup to the upside to follow through and start already the third wave to the upside in wave C of a larger B wave, or break to the downside, which could indicate that a B wave has topped somewhere here, maybe even as a triangle. It is a bit ambiguous, I have to say that, but from a trading point of view, this was a nice breakdown setup or breakout setup to the downside. Now, it is still possible, but I don't necessarily believe it at the moment because of the breakdown and how low we already saw the price go. Let me just double check that and verify that. But this here could still be a 1-2 setup. That's the yellow count is still valid. But we had a short-term breakdown setup here with the trend line. But it is still a possible 1-2, okay? And then here A, B, C, or even W, X, Y. So what we need to check now for this yellow wave 2, because we're now deep in support for this wave 2, here is where the bulls could make a comeback, right? So we need to watch for that. That's something to watch for. I have no clear micro setup. If we have a large time frame like that, this is the 4-hour chart, then we need a micro setup to suggest that the price intends to go to the upside. Let me just put the fibs on here, because if we already have a break below the 78.6 retrace, then this is becoming less likely. Okay, so it touched it, $67.11. So the bullish scenario is still possible, but what the bulls need to do, and that is key. So next week, we all need to pay attention to the $67 level. That's the 78.6 retracement of this rally that happened between the 12th of December and the 12th of April. And this is sort of the last reliable support that I would normally expect to hold for a wave 2. In yellow, okay, so if we break below it, it would rather emphasize further the white scenario. Now, until I see a micro 5-wave move to the upside, followed by a 3-wave pullback, which would be our first micro upside setup, I'm following the white scenario, which is short-term bearish. What do I need to see for the bullish count? It is a 5-wave move up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be on a smaller time frame. And then a 3-wave pullback, just a higher low before we then go higher. Not necessarily like that. That's not how oil moves normally. But oil can be quite aggressive. But at the moment, the trend is clearly down. There's nothing to suggest that something more bullish is unfolding here. Can we also add maybe another trend line, a breakout trend line possibly, that could give us an indication that oil is intending to break to the upside? Let's see if we get any nice touch points here. Yeah, not really. I mean, you don't really get a nice trend line that has maybe 3 touch points here. This one, 3 touch points. This trend line keeps the trend down. Trend is still down. So I'd like to get at least 5 waves up above the trend line. All right, that's something to watch for. Doing micro counting doesn't really give us so much clarity. I mean, this is, we say from up here where we had a 1-2 setup and another 1-2. I mean, this could be another 1, 2, 3. I mean, this might be the 3, get another 4, 5. That micro counting isn't so helpful here necessarily, but I think it could do another 4-5 pattern in this third wave. This is how, the roadmap that guides us down lower, which means based on this wave pattern, I could add the next resistance area. Because we need to consider that the entire third 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, that this entire third is done. So that means only a break above this fib resistance area will break this downside impulse. And that would mean it needs to break above $71.90. Okay, and against that level, I would focus on the downside. So we have immediate downside resistance is the trend line. So that is a dynamic resistance that keeps the direct trend down. Breaking above it could mean a bounce is unfolding, but it's not necessarily a major trend reversal. Structurally, it might lead to a bounce, yeah, might lead to a rally into the resistance area. But from there, we could still see further downside as per the white scenario. So I think it's clear what we need to see for the bulls to make a comeback. I think the bears are still leading, especially as long as we're holding below resistance. That's the update about WTI. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you're interested in daily updates about the S&P 500, as well as regular updates about stocks, feel free to check out these stocks and S&P 500 service. You'll find the link in the description. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.